Welcome to Suitcase and Chardonnay, the podcast where style meets storytelling and where we blissfully blend travel, fashion, food, wine, and intentional living. I'm Renate Engelbrecht, your host, and this is the space where you can find inspirational lifestyle tips, explore beautiful local and international destinations, and share slow, luxury moments and the little details that make life feel richer. In this second season, we are leaning even deeper into life's unique experiences. From boutique hotels and family weekend escapes, to thoughtful food and fashion, soulful conversations about wine, creativity, and conservation, and the art of slowing down without losing your sense of adventure. Whether you're listening on a morning walk, planning your next getaway, or simply craving a moment of inspiration, you're in exactly the right place. If you love lifestyle podcasts that celebrate travel, fashion, food, and wine, go ahead and follow or subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. And if something resonates, save it, share it, and let it travel further than we ever could alone. Now, if you're ready, let's go. Coinciding with their recent roadshow, TLC Vacations' Carlos Louis, their MD, sat down with me for a quick chat about the luxury resorts they represent. Here with then a full interview about all the luxury resorts they represent and also a bit of information about recent awards that they won. Carlos, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm super excited about this afternoon's media event, and I'm lucky to be chatting to you beforehand because I'm very curious about your brand. Just for the listeners, it's TLC Vacations, the luxury or the Lux Collective, right?
That's right, yeah.
And under it, you've got different brands. Can you just maybe explain to the listeners exactly how it works?
Well, thank you so much for having me. Yes, we've got wonderful brands. We do have the Lux Collective. That's what the TLC Vacation stands for. Mm-hmm. So the TLC Vacations, we represent the Lux Collective on the African continent. So we've got offices based in here, but we look after the rest of Africa as well. Under the Lux Collective, we have 3 different brands, Lux Resorts and Hotels. Mm-hmm. Then we've got Salt, of which we've only got 1 resort, but there's 2 resorts opening up in China and one in Bali. That's going to be very exciting. And then we've got Tamasa. Tamasa's a lovely, very affordable brand, all about bringing people together.
Okay, amazing. And today we're talking luxury.
Today we're talking luxury. Today we're talking what our flagship brand is, the Lux Resorts.
Okay.
And they start from 5-star superior all the way to 5-star deluxe. 5-star luxury.
Okay.
So we're fortunate enough in Mauritius, we've got 2 of only 8 resorts in Mauritius that have been certified by the Mauritian Tourism Council as 5-star luxury.
Wow, that's amazing. One of the phrases that come up regularly with your brand is life extraordinary.
Yes.
And I'm curious to know what that means to you and what it means to the brand and to international travelers who want to visit your destinations.
Yeah, life extraordinary. It's obviously what they stand for. The Lux Collective, they believe that just an ordinary resort's no good. So you got to live life. I mean, we all live pretty tough lives, and we want to switch off. So the life extraordinary, it's about your experiences when you are at resort, and about excursions and things that you can do. So certain things that you can do at the resort, like the beautiful Hug Me Honey experience, which is my wife's favorite thing to do at Lux Grand Gorbe, just something different and something that's unique to that property. Each property has got their own different experiences, and I might be biased in saying it, but I agree, they are quite extraordinary.
Okay, amazing. Do you feel that the definition of luxury travel has evolved over the last couple of years? And also, how do you think travelers perceive it now? I think because travelers have changed also, I think, and evolved into being more conscious and more experience-driven. So how does that fit into the current luxury travel space, and how has it changed for you over the years?
Well, funny, we've just had our roadshow, and we've been to Cape Town, Bushendal, Durban, and we're in Johannesburg. And the theme, what I've asked our colleagues from Mauritius and Zanzibar to talk about is to talk about the experiences. And the reason why I bring that up is every resort's got beds, every resort's got restaurants, but not all resorts have the same kind of experience.
Yeah.
And from a luxury perspective, that's what people want. You know, gone are the days when you have to have gold taps. What people want, they want an amazing experience. We all work very hard, so time to switch off and forget about the world for a while. Have these kind of, I mean, I'd hate to use the once in a lifetime phrase, but it's a memory that's going to last forever. So it might be 10 times in a lifetime, but when you're going to go there, you want to have these experiences.
Yes, yeah.
You know, what we find in, particularly like from our Maldives resort, people want privacy. You know, they want to switch off from the rest of the world. And what a better place to do it than Lux which really makes you feel like, wow, I could be Robinson Crusoe on an island by myself.
Yeah.
And then 3 seconds later, you're enjoying a meal with a whole lot of other people. Then you can be back into your own little secluded place and just forget about the world.
Oh, my word.
Very fortunate to have spent a week with my family there in December.
That sounds amazing. I can only imagine. So obviously that is one of the things that sets you guys apart from other luxury brands in the travel scene. Are there other things that set you apart and make you stand out?
Yeah, you know, like our rooms, so the quality of the rooms, the standard of the rooms, they're all fairly large. But I must admit, the other thing that really stands out is our food and beverage. To give you a great example, Lux Belmar has got a 2 Michelin star chef.
Oh, wow.
Amari by Vineet is an Indian restaurant. And Vineet is actually, he's a celebrity chef. He was actually one of the MasterChef UK judges.
Okay.
So he's done the most amazing work, and he's set up this restaurant at Belmar that has obviously the Asian fusion, but it's a combination of things. Do you want traditional Indian, or would you rather prefer more of a Mediterranean Indian, which is a little bit kind of tailored back a little bit?
Yes.
So he'll make their dishes according to that, whether you want the full 2-star Michelin experience or just a little bit more casual.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, we'll get to the culinary experience just in a bit. But first, you guys have just won some really nice awards. And I'm just curious about, you know, how you feel about that. You've got the five-star awards from the Forbes Travel Guide, is that correct?
Yes, so Forbes Travel Guide do this annual award. 3 of our resorts, Lux Grand Gorbe, Lux Belmar, and Lux South Ori have attained a 5-star review. Look, not to be confused with the star rating. This is purely about the standards of service.
Yes.
They are so strict about it that our team here in South Africa, we've got to write. We've got to respond to that, and you know they'll ask us questions, and I had to laugh. One of the questions they asked me is like, when you see your client walking on the beach, ask him how his morning walk was, and where he'll be joining us for dinner. It's like, I don't see a beach, I see a car park outside. So very stringent, and very proud that we've done it. Belmar's done it for the 3rd year in a row. And if you're talking about extraordinary experiences, if you have to go to our spa at Grand Bay, if you have to go to our spa at Lux Grand Bay, you'll understand why they also won a 5-star Forbes rating for spas. It's 3 stories of absolute bliss.
Wow. 3 stories.
3 stories.
That's crazy.
Yes.
How much can you do in a spa with 3 stories?
Well, there's so many different kind of treatments as well. You know, they've even got, they've looked after the gents. We've got a barber
Of course,
there.
yes.
Bridal room where you can obviously get ready for your weddings. Turkish a month. You think of it. They've got it. And the bottom floor is dedicated to anybody, so you don't actually have to pay for it. So if you just make a booking, you can go and enjoy the saunas, the steam.
Oh,
the
nice.
steam rooms.
Okay.
There's quite a few other things that people take advantage of. Yeah.
And then, speaking of Grand Bay in Mauritius, they also got another award, the what is it called? The Verified Responsible Hospitality Badge.
Yes.
And that comes in with your sustainability in terms of hospitality. How do you see the brand keeping those standards and continuously exceeding expectations on that high level? I mean, obviously these awards set some kind of a bar. How do you keep exceeding those expectations that customers now have?
Yeah, look, I don't think it's necessarily about a customer, but it's more about the ethos in the company. I mean, one of the taglines that Lux is known for is lighter, brighter. Now, there's a little bit of a play on the words there. Lighter, brighter, if you go to our resorts, you know, the rooms are light, which obviously in turns means it's a lot brighter. But the biggest play on that resort is how do we have the lightest impact on their environment so we can have a brighter future. So that is always at the back of everybody's minds. Every single resort, whether it's a Lux resort or Tenassa or Salt, comes with its own sustainability fact sheets, and they've committed to 5 or 6 different sustainability initiatives. So right front and foremost, that's what they're thinking. How do you impact on their environment? And just to touch on Salt a little bit, Salt is a spectacular resort, very small, very intimate, 59 rooms, and it's all about mindful travel when it comes to Salt. So you won't get beef at Salt because they don't have great beef on the island. Doesn't mean that you won't get red meat. You'll get local red meats. And the reason why they don't want to import the beef is because, one, they want to support local, and two, if they had to import the beef, there's an impact from a CO2 emission. So very conscious of the impact on the environment and from a local perspective. So yes, the Lux Grand Bay was awarded, but every single resort has got their own initiatives.
Yeah.
Even all the way out to Lux Lemoine that looks after the little hedgehogs that are. They've got a project around that. So we often get that response. Sorry, just on that, I've got to touch on another moment. Lux Belmar, there's a number of stray dogs in Mauritius, so they all feed the dogs and they neuter the dogs as well. And clients, obviously, a lot of people fall in love with these dogs and they actually end up adopting these dogs.
Oh, really?
So they'll help them go through the whole process, obviously vaccinate the dogs and then send them overseas. And my little joke about it, it's amazing how hard it is for South Africans to get Schengen visas, but for a dog to get to Germany, it's not a problem. And obviously these people absolutely love these pets that they've gone through. We get updates every now and again with this cute little dog in his cage heading for his
incredible.
Forever home. Yeah, it is very incredible.
And they've all got these interesting stories now to
They
tell.
do, very individual for each resort. Yeah, it's lovely.
Wow. So touching on that, I mean, obviously that adds to the whole experience of a guest stay. And with regards to sustainability and the goals that you want to achieve within the particular specific properties, do you have specific ways in which you allow or offer guests opportunities to engage with sustainable efforts that you do, sustainability efforts and things that you do?
Yes, so we do a number of different things. One of the lovely initiatives that they have at Lux Grand Gorbe is a dinner in the dark. Amazing experience. You've got a massive blindfold on you and you eat blind. And the proceeds from that actually gets donated to a blind NGO in Mauritius.
Okay.
So that's one example. If I'm thinking of a couple of months ago when I was at Lux South Orient in the Maldives, you can buy little stands and they use that to regenerate the coral. So I mean it's absolutely spectacular. The sea life is quite incredible there, and then you can have your little stand in the water that's actually marked with your name. In a couple of weeks or months later, you can see how the coral forms, and the beauty about that is not only does the coral develop, but you've got the sea life that's attracted to that too. So once again, every resort has got their own little bits of sustainability. Even looking at a Tamasa, so that's our 4-star superior resort. They've got the Bell of Wishes where you can buy, it's a small contribution. You can buy a bell, and the proceeds of that also goes to a local community that they can obviously use their funds for whatever they might need. Our Lux Lemoine has got a great initiative, zero food waste. So obviously if you at a 5-star resort, and especially a 5-star superior and above, you expecting if you're going to go to the buffet, you want everything available. So they can't cut what they're doing because the guest is obviously paying a premium for that standard of service. What they'll do is with all that food, they donate it to communities that are around schools and that. And my colleague Anatoly, who's the sales and marketing manager, he says every day when they donate the food to the schools, the absenteeism rates is sitting at 0 because they know they're going to get these wonderful meals. Never mind the desserts.
So you keep the kids in the school and you get guests coming back because they want to see how the coral grows on their stands.
Yes.
That's incredible.
It's quite incredible.
Clever thinking.
My name.
Oh, goodness. So back to culinary experiences. We touched on it earlier, and obviously there are lots of Suitcase and Chardonnay listeners and readers who are foodies and very fond of wine and travel, obviously. And we love to see how these things interact with each other. And I am curious to know how you guys bring local flavors and cultural storytelling into your culinary experiences in the brand.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, it's what probably the biggest thing that we have when it comes to our different food and beverage options. Just looking, so it might not necessarily be a Mauritian experience, it might be something different. So, and a great example of that is at Lux Grand Gorbe, we've got our Creole Smokehouse. So that is, in it, you can imagine the American, they've got their big smoke cookers or whatever.
Yeah.
So they cook like that, but it's all traditional Mauritian cuisine.
Oh, nice.
And then you sit under the banyan tree, most amazing experience. You see these long roots that hang from the banyan tree, and then you've got little lights that are hanging from the trees. Quite an amazing experience, and you can really get the true authentic Mauritian experience. On the other side of the resort, you've got Inti, which is a Peruvian restaurant, and South Africans absolutely love it, because as you'll know from most South Americans, they love, don't know what they call a braai, but it's a braai essentially.
Yeah.
And then
a barbecue maybe?
probably in Spanish or Portuguese. Probably should know the Portuguese name. And then you've got the chef there. That's one of our speciality restaurants. You've got the chef there, Pedro, and he makes the most amazing meals based on his Peruvian upbringing. And then just in between those two resorts, you've got Bodrum Blue. Bodrum Blue is a Turkish restaurant. I must admit, a lot of the ladies that go there, not only do they enjoy the food, but they also enjoy the chef that's there for some reason. And that resort's just one example. We've got 8 different options there, and look, it's very hard to choose between the resorts, and I really enjoy that resort because there's still 3 or 4 other restaurants that you can eat at, so you get a full range of different experiences within that, not only Mauritian cultures, but others as well. I could talk about it all day because there's so many different, each resort's got their own speciality. I touched on the Indian 2 Michelin star restaurant at Belmar. Right next to that, we've got Duck Laundry, which is the most quirkiest place you've ever been. It's this emerald green kind of decor with red and quite dark. And then they do the most amazing Peking duck there, and the chefs are all trained how to slice the duck. I'm not a particular fan of duck, but I was fortunate enough to be there 2 weeks ago, and it's the most succulent duck I've ever had. There's an art to slicing the duck, and the chef comes out and it's all quite theatrical, and he slices the duck. making me hungry. So every resort has got their own speciality restaurants that are quite different, so you can enjoy different experiences. And then obviously, when it comes even to a simple buffet, I don't think you can call anything a simple buffet from a Lux perspective. But even at Belmar, again, a great example, what they've done to elevate the experiences. You'll go to a buffet and then you dish up and the kids can't even see the counters. They've lowered the counters so kids can actually see what they want.
Oh,
and
wow.
They've got a chef that's stationed there that can help the kids choose whatever they like.
Sure.
And kids are so excited
Yeah.
to be choosing that and not just reach for the chips.
Just on kids, I'm going off my list now, but while we're talking about kids and family now, how does it work in your brand? Is there a specific brand section that is really focused on family travel, and then others for more couple type of romantic travel? How does it work?
So it's all dependent on the resorts more. Having said that, Salt is adults only, well, from 16 years old.
Okay.
And the reason being, at Salt, it's more to do with the bedding. I mean, they've got the most incredible beds. $10,000 a bed. You have
Oh my
so
goodness.
you're not going to you're not able to split the bed into twin rooms. So that was probably more the thinking from a Salt. The new Salt in Bali will be a family friendly.
Okay.
But all our resorts have kids clubs. They've also not introduced. They've had teens clubs for quite a while. So from a kids, they've got different programs that are relevant to the kids. So although our play is our kids club, and they've got a program from the age of 3 till I think it's 7, and then from 7 until 8 until 9, and then 9 until 11.
Okay.
So they're all age appropriate.
Yes.
So you're not,
Yeah.
if you don't have an 11-year-old that has to have a mid-morning nap.
Yeah.
And then from a teens club as well, they've got a dedicated program every single day that'll tell you what to do.
Okay.
And I know my kids, I've got 2 daughters that are late teens. They were never really interested in going to places like this, but when they've got photography lessons, which is great for Instagram, and they've got DJ lessons as well, that does open them up to them. So they were quite keen to pick some of the cool,
Yes.
the cool
And it becomes a bit
activities,
educational and experiential again.
And in their minds, it's relevant. It's not.
Yes.
It's not making, I don't know, fishy bread, fish-shaped bread. Like they did
Oh, that sounds
10 years ago.
amazing. Yeah. If you're a lifestyle, travel, fashion, food, or wine brand looking for a multi-purpose platform to collaborate with in telling your brand's story, please reach out to hello@suitcaseandchardonnay.co.za. Suitcase and Chardonnay is a blog, podcast, and social media company, and under the same brand, I am also a freelance writer who writes numerous articles for various publications. I would love to work with you in telling your brand's story, so feel free to reach out and let's share your story together. You touched on the one restaurant's decor a little bit, but I also wanted to know, do you feel like fashion and design and structural things have an influence on the guest experience at these destinations?
Definitely. When you arrive at some of the resorts, they all got very different entrances, but they've all got a sense of wow. If I think of Lux Grand Bay, that is our flagship. As you walk in, it's 3 stories. It's just open, and you get the most amazing view out in front of you. If you look at Lux Grand Gorp, same thing. You've got the ocean in front of you, so as you arrive all the way through, you can see the ocean, and that's got probably, I don't know how long it is, probably about a 300-meter drive along the coast. So it's it's quite, I think, that sets the scene as you arrive that entrance. So if it's quite spectacular, guests are already quite excited. When they have used celebrity designers like Kelly Hopkins, who is a UK designer that's designed a lot of our resorts.
Okay.
She was actually on the UK equivalent of Dragon's Den.
Okay.
So she is quite a celeb to do that, and then the same with the architects as well. They're all very well renowned architects that take a combination of what's new and fashionable, and also what's relevant to
Yes.
that day and age, or an influence. And if we have to go back to salt is quite bright. And what happened there? The designer spent 2 weeks in Mauritius, not driving around Mauritius, but jumping on their little taxis, going into their towns, and she got inspiration from the colours that they received there, the different spices they've got. And if you see salt of Palmar, you'll see how it stands, and that's basically been influenced from the local community and the local culture.
That's incredible. So it brings the culture and the colors of the culture inside as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's stunning. Lastly, but definitely not least, for South African travelers dreaming of their next escape, why should the Lux Collective be on their list?
Well, I was chatting to a colleague a couple of years ago about it, and I just wanted a word. I was trying to explain to him, there's just something extra about Lux. And he's actually, you'll meet him later, he's actually here. And he said, Carlos, the word's finesse. I mean, they've got a beautiful, I love the Mauritian charisma and the culture. And that's it, I think from a Lux perspective, kids, the kids' dining tables, or at least kids' dish up area, they've just taken it that step further. They've just thought about what else we can do. Our infinity pool that's on the 4th floor at Lux Grand Bar, that is spectacular. That is I always joke, I say it's our 50 shades of blue, because you've got the beach, you've got the pool, then you see the beach, and then later on in the distance you see the sky. So from that perspective, they've really thought about the little bit extras, taken it a little bit further. And I think when it comes to, we touched on it a little bit earlier about luxury. People don't necessarily want these big flash things. They want space, they want privacy, and they want some experience that's going to be different to anywhere else. And what we find with the Lux resorts, there's always a development on them. If I mentioned the Hug Me Honey experience, I'm very fortunate to see a lot of these resorts, and because of my position, they really spoil me. And when I travel with my wife, the Hug Me Honey experience is her best thing. The first year we went there, and I'll tell you a little bit about that, sorry. What actually happened, a guest was speaking to the executive sous chef, and she says, you've got this beautiful property, why not put beehives on them? And he's quite passionate about bees, which she didn't know. Anyway, she went back to France, came back a year later, and he tapped her on the shoulder, greeted her, and said, come, let's go have a look. And they had set up 5 beehives.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, then it's turned into this whole beehive experience, where they've built a structure with a glass window in the front, and actually a beehive on the structure. So you can see the bees doing their day-to-day. You can see the queen bee, and quite an educational process. After that, you would have the team from the spa would come and teach you how to do a honey and salt rub, and then the mixologist comes out and he teaches you how to mix a cocktail, and then the sous chef obviously loves his pastries. He's got a whole range of different pastries with very generous, probably about 12 different flavors of honey.
Oh my goodness.
So that was our first experience. The next time we went back, we had noticed they had planted a whole lot of bushes around it. I was like, well, this is nice, and that also provides some privacy. So the reason why we did it, because if you see the leaves, it's very waxy coated leaves. So the bees don't have to travel too far to get the wax. Anyway, the next time I went back, they had a bee honest bar where you can go and mix your own things, and they've got all the equipment and all the ingredients.
Incredible.
And they've planted a fruit garden as well. So I was actually joking and teasing the bees, saying that they're probably the fattest bees around, so they don't have to go too far to get their pollen.
No exercise for that.
So it's constantly evolving. I mean, that little story over a 2-year period, I can see what's happened there. They've always thinking of something new, something exciting, what they can do different, and how they can continue these extraordinary experiences.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I think in the end, that's the way to keep people engaged and to keep them coming back, because they're so invested now that they want to come back and they want to see what's next. So I think it's incredible. I'm excited to see one of these places
The
someday.
lovely thing about it, although the Lux theme runs through all of them, so you can get, we've got our reasons to go where you find a message in a bottle, which I didn't touch on. If you find a message in a bottle, you get a free experience.
Okay.
So you've got parents waking up nice and early, like digging through the bushes to find a bottle. We've got our tree of wishes where people can go and they take a ribbon and write a wish and put it in the tree. And that could be anything. I mean, when I was there, my daughter was hoping to get into medicine, so that was her wish. My other daughter was hoping for a boyfriend. And then while you're there, you flip through a few things. I said, read one and said, I want a monster truck, aged 5. So, so it's lovely thing. And, by the end of the year, the tree gets quite heavy with all the different wishes. And they pick one of the wishes and they grant them a stay at one person.
Wow.
They grant them a stay there. So there's just so many experiences. And what I was alluding to earlier is, from a Lux perspective, you've got that thread that runs through, but all the resorts, whether it's the actual experience, the extraordinary experiences that they have, so the excursions at the resort, all the different restaurants, they are slightly different. So you can move from a Grand Gorbe to a Lux Grand Bar to a Belmar or Le Morne and have the same kind of standard of Lux, but have very different experiences too.
Yeah. Incredible. Suitcase and Chardonnay is a space for curious minds, romantic souls, travelers, foodies, wine lovers, and curators of a beautifully lived life. If this episode resonated with you, you'll find even more depth, visuals, and storytelling on the blog, where each conversation continues beyond the microphone. Explore it all at suitcaseandchardonnay.co.za and join the community by following along on social media. Where can people find you guys online, and also where are these lodges or resorts actually, hey?
So you can find details at the tlcvacations.co.za. But any travel agent, we partners with all the travel agencies here in South Africa, and we work, the rates would be exactly the same, and they can also guide you. But just on the resort, so currently what at least what's relevant for the South African market, the Lux resorts or the Lux Collective can be found in Mauritius. We've got 6 resorts there. In Reunion, very, very different experience there. Nobody takes all inclusive there because they want to go and climb the volcano or go deep sea fishing or go caving or canyoning. So we got 2 resorts there. In March 2023, we opened up Lux Zanzibar, Lux Marijani.
Okay.
So that's a beautiful resort in Zanzibar. And the northeast, crazy thing about that is the tide goes out. And we've got, when the tide is out on low tide, we have the most incredible sandbank in front of our resorts. So that's where we do yoga, or we'll do lunch on the sandbanks, and then you come back a couple of hours later and it's all gone, and then the next morning you'll see it again. And then Lux Maldives, we're it's very close to the equator. So as I joked about earlier today, I looked at the forecast in December when we were there, and it was 27 degrees the low and 28 degrees the high. The next day was 27 degrees the low, 28 the high. The next day it was 28 degrees the low and 28 degrees the high. And I've looked at it in preparation for this week, and it hasn't changed. So obviously being close to the equator, it's fairly consistent. But what's really exciting is the new resorts that that are coming out soon. By the end of next year, we'll have launched our one resort in Vietnam. It's the first Maldivian-style resort. Beautiful, beautiful island. So it's on the island of Phuket. And I think it's 70% of the island is covered by UNESCO forest.
Wow.
So you can't do much on there. And to get to our resort, there are not many islands on the north. You drive all the way through this little path, and then you get there, and then you actually go over the sea where they've built the structure over the sea so they don't have to damage the resort.
Wow.
So like I said, it's the first Maldivian-styled resort, and everything's over stilts. I was very excited because we always talk about it and get excited that it's coming, but I've actually seen it on Google Earth. You actually see we're very close to, so it'll definitely be there next year.
Wow.
Salt is introducing a resort in Bali. That'll be very exciting. I mean, the resorts are quite spectacular what they look like, and you're talking about architecture, so that'll be an architect's dream. And then talking about an architect's dream, something that's a lot closer to home, we announced Botswana and Vic Falls. The Botswana one, I explain it as it seems like a UFO's landed in the middle of the Chobe, and a colleague of mine says it looks like if you standing underneath the mushroom, those layers that you get there. So it'll be a small lodge, 32 units. But in the heart of the Chobe, so you can imagine how spectacular that is. And then there's a lot of talk about other resorts that I'm not really allowed to mention because it's not. But some of them will be closer to home. There's even one resort that we all know about, but we've forgotten. So we're in serious talks with that. So if all goes well, and the bottom line is that the signatures are placed in the contracts, we'll have a lot more to talk about in the coming months.
Well, South African travel, we can all plan ahead.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks so much, Carlos.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for spending some time with me on Suitcase and Chardonnay. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to follow the podcast or subscribe on your favorite platform. It truly helps the show grow and helps others to discover it too. You can find more stories, travel tips and reviews, style inspiration and curated recommendations over on the blog at Suitcase and Chardonnay, where each episode often lives on in written form, with links, visuals and deeper details. For daily fashion inspo, behind-the-scenes moments and slow-living storytelling, come and say hi on Instagram, Facebook or Pinterest. Just search for Suitcase and Chardonnay. And if this episode sparked something for you, don't forget to save it or share it with someone who loves travel, fashion, food and wine as much as you do. Until next time, keep chasing beauty, spotting the little things, traveling with intention and finding joy in everyday things.